today. A special birthday vlog from Ebenezer Church Recreation Center in Jordan Lake, Apex, North Carolina. We're gonna do some warbler hunting. Let's go. What's up, everybody? Phil with Photo Gear Fun here today, early morning, 7:30. My birthday, coming out here to Ebenezer Church Recreation Area, where there's a bunch of warblers that come through here in North Carolina during the fall, in September and October. They also come through in the spring, but this is a pretty well noted place here for warblers. So we're going to see what we can find for warblers. There's a bunch of them that I've never seen. This will be my first year out for the fall migration. Brought the Sony A7CR with the 200 to 600 lens. No teleconverter today because it's kind of cloudy and supposed to be rainy, but we're going to see what we can find over here at Ebenezer Church, and we'll check in when we find something. All right, so right off the bat, there's an osprey up in the tree. Couldn't get a great shot necessarily. It might still be there, but I just wanted to show you, we recently had a hurricane come through, and just wanted to show you, you don't probably know this place, but if you look at these trees here, you can see those are generally on the ground. So Helene dumped a bunch of water on us here in central North Carolina. The west has been devastated, but this lake is normally probably 10 feet back or so. So there's been some flooding around here locally, but not too bad. But yeah, this is Jordan Lake, and this is Ebenezer Point. I'm gonna go see, I think I got an angle on that osprey. It's a kind of, like I said, overcast, kind of cruddy day for photography, but we're gonna make the best of it. And then hopefully we'll see some warblers as they come through here too. Okay, we're gonna go through some of the photos here in Lightroom. Here is the osprey. When I first came up, it was kind of just sitting there on the branch. Again, it was pretty overcast, and in this video you're gonna see photos that are probably not technically great. I just want to show you the struggle of especially warbler photography. It's not the easiest thing. If you never tried it, you definitely should. It's both frustrating and rewarding. So here is the osprey. I've got the A7CR, and this one was taken at ISO 1250, 600 millimeters. I didn't bring the teleconverter this time because it was too cloudy, as I said in the intro. So this is the 200 to 600 millimeter lens, and that's the osprey. When I first came in, also saw this little killdeer posing on debris that wouldn't normally be there. These are driftwood, basically, that have drifted up, and you'll see that more in the video to come. But basically, this is just this cute little killdeer, and there are plenty of killdeer over at Jordan Lake. Also saw this great blue heron up close and personal. You can see the dimensions here. Not cropped very much, and this guy was pretty close and kind of hung out by the shore, but I'm always going to take a shot of a great blue heron when it presents itself. Let's head back out into the field. So there was just a flurry of warbler activity. I don't know what I got. I usually identify at home, and they're kind of backlit. The lighting's not great, so I can't really tell. Definitely saw a yellow-throated, I think some magnolias, Prorulas, easy for me to say. But yeah, so far some pretty good activity. I think it's going to start picking up a little more too, and the people are picking up. That osprey's back on that branch. The people are picking up here too. It's a very popular spot for birders. Even this is a weekday, but even on the weekdays they're out. So I see a friend I'm going to say hello to, and keep looking for. That's gross. We'll keep looking for those warblers. So check in when something exciting happens. All right, let's look at that flurry of warbler activity. These were backlit shots, as most of them were for today. This is a yellow-throated warbler. Got a few shots of maybe the same one or another, but they were in a tree nearby with some pine warblers and some parula, which we'll see as well. Here's another shot. Again, these are not all great shots technically, and you can see they're almost bordering on high key, but getting these warblers pretty difficult. You can see the ISO here, 640, 600 millimeters, f6.3. That A7CR has great croppability. As you can see here, I'm cropping it to basically 16 by 9, which I wouldn't normally do, but for YouTube, I'll do that at 16 by 9. It's another yellow-throated, beautiful bird. And the A7CR is amazing for autofocus, but no matter what, you're going to miss there's so many branches and pods and different things that are in the way. This is a pine warbler, and he's kind of looking for a meal over here, looking near me, not directly at me, but this is a bit of a challenge. So here is a northern parula, and again, this kind of shows you the challenges we have. You're almost never going to get a clear shot of a warbler unless you just sit in one spot and wait, which is one way to do it, and you can come away with some pretty good shots. I was just trying to get as many birds as I possibly could. So this parula, although beautiful, is out of focus here. And again, these are the struggles when you're trying to shoot warblers and all these different distractions. You know, I probably wouldn't necessarily post this on social media. It's not the greatest shot, but again, I mean, it's a warbler. They're beautiful birds, and I just love seeing them. And these are all, by the way, in the same spot, basically. So the parula was here, came over, and then this pine warbler kind of jumped into almost the same spot. And you can see this guy, or girl, I'm not sure. Pretty good focus, so you can see it's kind of on this pod here. Again, the A7CR autofocus is just incredible. It does miss, and at times I'll have to actually grab the manual focus and get it close so that it will grab an eye. And here's that pine warbler again, looking for a meal. I've got a few shots of that pine warbler. So this one again is out of focus. Some of this is motion blur. So one thing that I learned, this was my first time going out for warblers, and they move quickly. And I generally am at 1/500 if I'm trying, 1/500th, I'm trying to shoot kind of portraits of birds. For warblers, you probably want to go to a 6/40th or maybe even 800th to get shots that don't have motion blur. And part of this might be that I'm at f6.3 and it's just out of the plane of focus. With the teleconverter, I'm at f9, and I usually don't have any issues with depth of field. So this might be motion blur, it might be depth of field. Not 100% sure, but this pine warbler hung out for half a second or maybe a full second. Here's a pretty good shot of that beautiful pine warbler you can see grabbing on here. And then this is a northern parula at the very top of the trees. A lot of warblers like to hang out at the tops of trees, which makes it difficult. Also gives you a little crimp in your neck, and we call that warbler neck, but a lot of them do tend to kind of go as high as they possibly can. Again, not a great shot. You're probably always going to have some distractions, and you can see the distractions here in the leaves. And yeah, I mean, that's just the way it goes. Let's get back out into the field. Pretty quiet. Just wanted to get a close-up of these logs. These are impressive. Yeah, other than that initial flurry, not a ton of warbler activity. Saw a couple eagles, chatted with some friends. The light is terrible, but this is something. This beach is normally clear. I'm still holding out hope we'll get a flurry of activity. It seems to just come in waves here. So we're gonna hang out. There was some activity in those trees earlier. But I'm gonna head over, see if we can't find some more warblers. We'll check in as soon as we find something. Well, there was a flurry of activity. I think I got some shots, some black and white, chestnut sighted. If so, that's the first time we got the chestnut sighted. So that's a lot of these are lifers for me since I haven't been out through the fall migration before. Okay, so here's this flurry of activity. We saw a little female downy woodpecker trying to have a little meal there. And then we moved over and I got this black and white. These black and whites are so cute. Usually I like to hang around by the trunk, but this guy was up in a branch not too far away, kind of looking down for a meal, I think. And then here's another shot of that black and white. So we're at ISO 1000 here. The backlighting kind of not great. Again, just I encourage you to get out and take some shots. You might get great shots, you might not get great shots. I don't consider these to be great shots based on the lighting. However, I did get birds that I've never seen before, so Let's go ahead and get out. This is a northern parula, again, not a great shot at all. Out of focus, could be motion blur, but I think the focus just missed here. But still great to get home and see these little treasures with this northern parula. And here he is, kind of not looking at me, I'm sure, looking for some sort of meal, but just a cute little bird. And so this was a lifer for me. A lifer is something that you haven't photographed before or seen before. For me, it's photographed. This one's a little bit out of focus. Again, I think it's motion blur, but this is probably the clearest shot, although we'll see one later that is maybe a little bit better. I'm just excited. You can see a little bit of that chestnut side in this shot, but you'll see more in the shots to come. So again, this is not a great shot. And, you know, the backlighting was pretty strong. It was in shadows and I had to do some noise reduction, but we're at 1600 ISO. I used DxO4 and the noise reduction in this is just second to none. So much better than Lightroom. Lightroom does a good job, but DxO does a much better job. Here's another shot. You can see a little bit more of that chestnut side here in this chestnut-sided warbler. So, and this is another, again, you can kind of see some of the bird is in focus and some of it's out. And I'm guessing that this is more motion blur. So, like I said earlier, probably bump that shutter speed up to 1/640th or 1/800th or 1,000th, depending on the light. In this light, I chose 1/500th. Maybe next time I go out, I won't. I'll be a little bit higher on my shutter speed. I'm at auto ISO. Again, this is another, I think this is motion blur because you can see that the wings are pretty sharp and the head's on the same basic plane of field. It's f6.3. So I think that these birds just move a ton and this is more motion blur. And this is probably my favorite shot, not technically, but just the way the bird's kind of looking at me, and you can see more of that chestnut in the side of this chestnut-sided warbler. Another shot. Again, not a great shot, but still, it's a pretty cool looking bird, and I just enjoy looking at these shots. Probably not something, again, I would post on social media. This one's a little better, but again, you're seeing kind of that backlighting's pretty strong. They're in deep shadows. If the light was better, usually the light's coming from behind me in this particular spot, so this bird would not have been in shadow, but because it was an overcast day, it was in shadow, and hey, I got a chestnut-sided warbler. This is one that, again, I don't know, this might be a depth of field issue, but these are the challenges when you're facing warblers or these smaller birds. These birds are really tiny, really hard to find, and they move just a ton. So I'm not terribly happy with this shot, but it is a chestnut-sided warbler, which I hadn't seen before, so I was really happy. Again, this is another example. This one's probably depth of field, as you can see the head poking out. So if I were at f8 or f9, maybe that would have been a better shot. Again, just need to kind of judge the light and depth of field and pick the best settings. I didn't on this particular day, but you live and learn. And this is my favorite shot from the day, kind of looking up. I'm sure he's looking up at a meal. You can see that chestnut, and this is basically all in the same plane. So at 6.3, it was pretty good. Again, high key backlit, but I mean, what can you do? You take what nature gives you. I wanted to get out. It was my birthday. I wanted to get out and see if I could get some birds that I had never gotten before. And then this is a black and white who I believe was looking for a meal in the web that you can see here, but there's probably some slight motion blur again here on this black and white. But yeah, let's go back out to the field and finish up this video. But yeah, it was really, really slow, and then as usual, it's just a flurry and then nothing again. So it's about time to call it a day. Ebenezer Church Recreation Area, Ebenezer Point. Got a shot of that great blue heron on the bench. And that bench is nearly covered in water, so yeah, I met a bunch of new friends. It's always a great time out here. If you're in the area, check out Ebenezer Church Recreation Area. Right now it's free Through September, they charge for just weekends after Labor Day, but now it's free. Normally it's a $7 charge, but it's a great spot for the fall migration. We had a lot of different warblers that come through all over the country to rest here for a little bit. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you like these types of videos, please consider subscribing. Get out there and have your photo gear fun, and I will talk at you again in the next video. Thanks so much for watching.